Hello! This video is about how I won the MEXT Scholarship and how I think you can as well. If you don't know what the MEXT Scholarship is, how did you get here? Video about what the MEXT Scholarship is coming soon. So, time for a quick background check. So I am a MEXT Scholarship recipient from New Zealand. I did a business degree in New Zealand for my undergraduate study, where I did not have a beautiful GPA. And then I spent a few years working full-time, still in New Zealand, in finance. Then I spontaneously decided to apply for the MEXT Scholarship. I applied for the Postgraduate Research Scholarship at a master's level. When I applied, I was a super beginner in Japanese. Konnichiwa, Nihongo tabemasen. But I still managed to win the scholarship. I had never lived overseas, and I spoke an impressive one language. The only thing really going my way is that I was dating a Japanese girl. Still am. And if this doesn't sound like you at all, that is okay. Since I moved to Japan on the MEXT Scholarship, almost everyone else I've met has had a very different background to what I personally have had. Now, for why you're here. Here's how I tackled the application stage of the MEXT process for research students and what I recommend you do beyond the general advice you can find yourself online. A scholarship-winning thesis proposal. The secret part often forgotten. Doing your application paperwork. So I'm not going to cover the obvious points you would find online for this section. I don't want to waste your time. If you found this video, you're probably looking for unique advice based on my personal experience as a successful applicant. And also, each country has its own unique requirements, so I won't touch on any country-specific points for this video. If you haven't already, my number one advice, if you somehow haven't already, is please devour all the free content available at Transcends/MEXT Scholarship. I'll put the links in the description. These are both effectively the same resource. My MEXT Scholarship is just an overhaul or streamlining of the Transcends content. I believe it's all still run by the same team and it's all the same core information. Although there are paid books available, which I trust are an amazing resource, I treated the free content as my Bible, and that got me across the line. Anyways, beyond the information available on the website, there's 4 things I think you should really laser focus on to put your application a step beyond others. So here's what I think you should focus on for your research proposal. How does your research proposal support friendship between your home country and Japan? Beyond inter-country friendship, why is your research important? Your proposal should be crystal clear, to the point, and easily understandable. Bring your ideas together by outlining how your ideas become real, meaningful research. How does your research proposal support friendship between your home country and Japan? When you are considering research ideas, remember why the Japanese government offers this scholarship in the first place. You need to either bend your research interests to conform to something in line with Japan's objectives, or you need to creatively connect your research interest to Japan's objectives and then very clearly and succinctly communicate your point. I personally spent 3 years working in corporate, so bending my ideas was the easy choice. But in seriousness, I had a strong interest in international relations, and I'd always felt that I wanted to master in it. So my starting point was Japan-New Zealand relations. I then consumed all the free content, academic content, news content, everything. Consumed everything I could about Japan and New Zealand relations. Then I identified the frequently discussed topics and geared my research proposal towards those topics. In my case, I identified that Japan and Australia security and trade relations were being talked about possibly as a model or an example for Japan-New Zealand security relations. So my research proposal was to explore to answer that question that didn't have an academic answer yet, to answer the question if, realistically, the Japan-Australia example could be used as a model for Japan-New Zealand in reality. Beyond inter-country friendships, why is your research important? Why should the Japanese government spend tens of thousands of dollars, millions of yen, funding your research and life in Japan. Not only should it matter to relations between your home country and Japan, but it should also provide material value to Japan. Your proposal structure should be crystal clear and to the point. Your proposal will go through a surprisingly interesting variety of people. So for an embassy track application like mine, your priority is not actually impressing the professor at your dream university. Your priority is impressing the diplomats and embassy staff to get you through to the exams and interviews to then get to your professor. If you don't impress the embassy, you won't get the chance to be declined by your dream professor at your dream university. My point is, do not forget that not everyone reading your proposal is an academic or a scholar. Therefore, a clear structure is king. Clearly organised ideas that are connected back to their main purpose and with a clear plan in place will top a poorly communicated genius proposal. Here's the research proposal template I found online and used for my application. We start with the default research theme. Then within the research plan, we break it into research goals, existing research, research methodology, research plan, research timeline. Research goals. Set the scene. Paint the picture of your subject and give it context. What is your subject and why is it important to Japan? Ultimately, once complete, what would your research add to this subject or this field of work academically? Does it make recommendations to policymakers for future New Zealand-Japan policy, in my case? Does it lower the barriers for further jazz music cooperation between Osaka and Boston? All your core information should be here. What field you want to research, why it matters, and what your research will add to it. Existing research. I treated this as a brief few sentences literature review on the topic. I clearly stated which existing research has come closest to addressing my research proposal and how I would build on this existing research. In my case, an academic article specifically said that there was a gap in research regarding my topic. Very cool. Research methodology. Will you use quantitative analysis? Qualitative analysis. STEM researchers, enjoy your quantitative analysis. Who is qualitative analysis and why is he just a bunch of opinions? Really dig into your analysis and how you will conduct that analysis. I ultimately sunk 150 words into this section. Then most importantly, acknowledge the limitations of your methodologies and how you will address them. No research is perfect, but to act blind to your limitations will either come across as naive or even worse, a liar. Research plan. I made a simple little 2-column by 4-row table mapping out my planned research timeline in semester 1 and 2 of the 2 years of study. I only did 1 sentence for each. The important part was to demonstrate that I had considered the reality of completing this research within the 2 years master degree timeframe. Pro tip, make this in an appendix, at least as of 2024. It doesn't count towards your page limit. Thanks, Hedgemahog. The secret part that gets forgotten, your application form. When I was researching the scholarship, I didn't see this talked about online anywhere near enough, in my opinion. The application form has a motivation for studying in Japan section, especially for those applicants like me, and maybe you, with an okay but not great GPA. I think here is where you can really demonstrate your passion and your long-term goals. Why is it important that you, what do we do these days? That you get the scholarship. Remember again why the Japanese government is bankrolling your Japanese holiday and subsequent student mental breakdown. Funding some great research? That's cool, but funding great research for someone who has the potential or the conviction in the future to be a diplomat, a politician, a professor, a groundbreaking researcher, a revolutionary artist. That's the magic of this scholarship. And you have the opportunity here to tell the Japanese government that once you graduate, you will be busting your ass to do something not just good, but great. Doing your application paperwork. Not too much to say here. Do not muck around. Find out super early what you need to get done regarding paperwork, which is different depending on which country and even which local embassy you're applying to. Health checks and blood tests. I had to get a full medical and chest x-ray done just to submit my application form. Recommendation letters from your current or former professor, possibly even from your current boss and employer. Do not stall on this. The moment you decide you are going to throw yourself at this scholarship, which is what you need to do to get it, get this done early. I fluffed around and I damn near lost my scholarship opportunity. But in my defense, my former professor, moving to Africa and having to submit a hard copy recommendation letter for me was not on my MEXT Scholarship bingo card. Conclusion. So that's everything. I would have loved to talk about exams and interviews, but I'll be making a separate video for that. Please like the video. If you've got any questions for me, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section. You may well be my only viewer, so you are guaranteed to get a banger response. I intend to make more videos about the MEXT Scholarship process and my experience in moving to Japan through receiving the MEXT Scholarship. So please do subscribe if that interests you, as you'll have a bloody hard time finding my channel again if you don't. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you found this helpful. Don't come here in summer.